beer, it's good for you.
Hello and welcome to the video. You probably already know that the right equipment can make all the difference in your brewing process. Within this video we'll be looking at one of the most important tools in the brewing world, the brewing paddle. Specifically we're going to compare wooden paddles versus stainless steel paddles to see which one is better for your brew day. Let's break down the pros and cons of each so that you can make an informed decision for your brewing setup. So let's get into it. Before we jump into the comparison, let's quickly cover what a beer brewing paddle is and why it's so important. Firstly, a brewing paddle is used to stir and break up the grain during the mash preparation process. When adding grains to the mash tun, stirring ensures that all of the grains are evenly wet in the mash water. Proper hydration also helps prevent dry spots, also known as dough balls, that can lead to an uneven starch conversion into sugars. Stirring in also helps distribute heat evenly throughout the mash, preventing hot or cold pockets. This also ensures that enzymatic activity occurs at the intended temperature for the intended results. A well-mixed mash reduces the risk of creating a compacted grain bread that can lead to a stuck sparge too, which is where the water can't flow through the grain bed properly, causing delays in the process and potentially disrupting your efficiency, and thus moving away from your recipe's intended results. Secondly, a paddle is also used to stir in hops and perhaps other ingredients during the boil process. Stirring also helps distribute hops evenly throughout the wort, maximizing the extraction, which contributes to bitterness and adds in those essential oils which will add in hop aroma and flavor. This ensures consistent hop utilization, leading to control over bitterness and aroma that is true to your recipe. Now let's talk about wooden paddles. They've been around since the earliest days of brewing, so as such are traditional, and naturally they are still very popular today and can be bought with various different designs. I personally own a couple of different wooden paddles, as you can see here, and despite the design differences they both do the job well, and as such I do not have a favourite. Let's now look at the benefits of using wood and where it might fall short. Firstly, tradition. Wooden paddles have a classic old school vibe. If you're a fan of that rustic hands-on brewing experience, then there's really something very satisfying about using a wooden paddle. It connects you to centuries of brewing history and simply feels good and proper. Plus, wood gives you a nice natural feel with some flex due to the nature of wood when stirring. It's also nice and smooth on the hands, which some people prefer during these long brew days. Though a prime reason for many is that wooden paddles are simply gentler on your kettle or system. Potentially unlike some stainless steel paddles, wood won't scratch or damage the inside, so if you have a delicate system or part that you want to preserve the vessel finish on, then wood is potentially going to be much more desirable. Let's now look at the cons of wooden paddles. Wood is porous, which means it can absorb liquid, oil and odours over time. After multiple batches you might notice that your paddle starts to discolour or perhaps even pick up some extra smells within the wood. This does not bother everyone of course, but it is worth mentioning all the same. Wooden paddles can also potentially require more maintenance than their stainless steel brothers. You'll need to regularly clean and dry them to prevent mould or warping. Plus some brewers treat their wood paddles with mineral oils to maintain the wood's integrity. Personally, I would recommend the following. Rinse thoroughly with warm water after use. Avoid using soap as it can soak up into the wood and impart off flavours in your next batch. Then give it a good scrub over with a brush using just hot water and then rinse it over. You should then leave it somewhere suitable to air dry completely to prevent mould or bacterial growth. Now naturally, even with lots of maintenance, a wooden paddle is still not going to last as potentially long as a stainless steel one, but they still will last considerable years. The single head paddle that I am showing here, for example, is over 10 years old and still in great condition. Next up we have stainless steel paddles. These are a more modern option, some would say, and they're becoming increasingly popular in homebrewing, especially as like with wood they vary in quite similar price points according to design. Personally, I just own one stainless steel paddle and it is the one here sold by Brewtools. I like this one because it is relatively compact, especially compared to my wooden mash paddles, which allows me to sit it across the top of my brewing system without any overhang, which is very handy during the boil phase. Further to this, it also has a small hook around its midpoint, which allows it to be hung lengthways either during the brew or when in storage. Furthermore, it has a cylinder at the end allowing it to be used with a drill. So let's now look at the pros and cons. Firstly, let's talk about durability. Stainless steel is incredibly strong and resistant to wear and tear. Unlike wood, it won't absorb liquids and is unlikely to warp or break, even after years and years of use. So if you are looking for a paddle that's built to last, then stainless steel is certainly the way to go, as once you have one then you will simply not need to buy another, unless, of course, you get a new brewing setup and find your existing one is not of the optimal size. This is of course personal preference, but naturally a larger system for many demands a larger paddle for speed. It is also fair to say that stainless steel paddles are low maintenance and easy to clean. I recommend the following. Clean with hot water, powder brew, wash and if needed a non-abrasive sponge or brush. You can then go ahead and rinse thoroughly with just hot water to finish. Stainless steel also offers hygienic benefits because stainless steel doesn't harbour bacterial odours in the way that wood can. You won't have to deal with those potential extra lingering smells and staining that can occur with wood. Naturally also, stainless steel paddles are much more heat resistant. You can stir your wort at high temperatures without having to worry about the paddle warping or deteriorating like you might with wood. Of course, no construction type for a paddle is perfect, so what are the drawbacks of stainless steel paddles? Well, firstly, stainless steel can be rather on the cold side, especially during long brewing systems in colder environments. If you're brewing outside in the winter, or just don't like handling cold metal, then this might well be a downside for you. However, you could also simply wear some gloves, which is a sensible option when brewing anyway, of course. Secondly, and this is the core downside for some, stainless steel paddles can scrape or scratch the inside of your kettle or brewing system if you're not careful. Certainly I would avoid any stainless steel paddle that has any edges that are not smoothed over, but in general you may also want to be extra cautious with your paddle if it is made from stainless steel in comparison to wood. For some this is not going to matter at all, and for others who like to keep their kit in pristine condition this will be a concern. Personally, I see all of my homebrew equipment as something to look after, but they are also tools, and as long as small amounts of surface damage does not affect performance, then I really do not give it a second thought, but you may well be different. So, which is better? Well, it really depends on what you're looking for in a paddle. If you love the traditional feel and aesthetic of wood, and then you wouldn't mind putting in a little extra care and maintenance, a wooden paddle might be right for you, especially if you're looking for a mark-free brewing system without any effort required. Wooden paddles are also perfect for those who want a hands-on classic brewing experience. On the other hand, if you want something that's virtually indestructible, super easy to clean and requires little maintenance but perhaps need more care during the use, then stainless steel paddles may be the way to go. It's a great option for modern brewers who prioritise durability and convenience. In the end, it really comes down to your personal preference, your brewing style and how much we're willing to put into your equipment. Both can do the job very effectively, so pick the one that best fits your brewing needs. Personally, I've been using both wood and stainless steel for many years. Wood has traditionally been my choice for manual mash stirring and preparation based on its feel. However, these days I opt for the stainless steel mixer route that is paired with a drill for fast and efficient mash preparation. My choice of paddle for the boil has been and still is the stainless steel variety based on its longevity and the lack of temperature sensitivity. So there you have it. Do let myself and the community know what you think in the comments section of this video. I do hope that you found this video useful, informative and interesting. If so, why not consider liking and subscribing? For further support you can join the channel's Facebook group, and if you would like to support the channel then check out the channel's merchandise store, as all profits go back into the channel. Until next time, happy brewing!